And just like that, 559 monologues in, we have made it to the end of Henry VI, Part 3. Ah! We have one more monologue to go, and today it's King Edward kicking off Act 5, Scene 7. So in Act 5, Scene 6, if you remember, Richard killed King Henry VI. Richard, Duke of Gloucester, and he also then vowed that he was going to kill his brother Clarence spread rumors about Clarence so that Edward would be suspicious of him, so then he could kill Clarence and get in Edward's good graces, and then he can kill Edward and then he can become king because the Duke of Gloucester, Richard, son of the former Duke of York, wants to be king. Anyway, so that's what's going on there. We've lost a lot of characters along the way. We've lost the Duke of York, we've lost some Cliffords, we've lost some Somersets, we've lost a king. We've lost a lot of people along the way. It's been kind of a crazy play that starts with a disinheritance of a young son and goes through like 4 iterations of war, one of which has a woman leading one of the armies, which is an interesting thing. That doesn't happen all the time. And we've got people defecting from one side to another and then turning out that they were like double agents and switching back to the side they were originally on, and blah, 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 blah. And yesterday it sort of culminated in Richard killing King Henry, but also sort of giving us this taste that he's not quite done yet. So in Act 5, Scene 7, we're back sort of in a royal situation, and King Edward kicks off the scene by saying, "Once more we sit in England's royal throne, repurchased with the blood of enemies. What valiant foemen, like to autumn's corn, have we mowed down in tops of all their pride. 3 Dukes of Somerset, threefold renown for hearty and undoubted champions. 2 Cliffords, as the father and the son, and 2 Northumberlands. 2 braver men ne'er spurred their courses at the trumpet's sound. With them, the 2 brave bears, Warwick and Montague, that in their chains fettered the kingly lion and made the forest tremble when they roared. Thus have we swept suspicion from our seat and made our footstool of security. Come hither, Beth, and let me kiss my boy. Young Ned, for thee, thine uncles, and myself have in our armors watched the winter's night, went all afoot in summer's scalding heat, that thou mightst repossess the crown in peace, and of our labors thou shalt reap the gain." So he acknowledges how many people have died. People from both sides have died in this war so that he could get the throne. He also, if you remember, he married Lady Grey instead of Lady Bona, and Lady Grey has given him a son, also named Edward, because they were really creative with their names back then. So that's the young Ned that they're talking about here. And he takes his infant son after this and sort of presents him to his 2 brothers, to Gloucester and to Clarence, and says, show your fealty to my son, because my son is now second in line for the throne. And Clarence is like, yes, of course, I love you. I love my nephew. And Gloucester's like, yeah, of course I love my nephew, and kisses him. And to the side, to the audience, he's like, yeah, that was just like Judas saying that he was going to be, good to Jesus. That's me, Judas. I'm going to kill them both. And now there's a baby that I got to kill too. And then they're like, so what do we do with Queen Margaret? And and Edward says, send her back to France. And yeah, then he thinks that they're gonna live in peace. Which, if anybody knows your British history, knows that it was at least 3 more kings before the War of the Roses actually ended. So yeah, and thus ends Henry VI. All of the parts. It was an interesting journey. He was an interesting king. He was portrayed as very mild through most of it until his son is killed at the end and he just can't take that anymore. The first couple plays, it's sort of like Star Wars. Like the first, we have A New Hope, and then we have Empire, because part 2 can't stand by itself without the other 2 pieces. And then we've got part 3, Return of the Jedi, which is like, now we're making this resurgence and they're gonna fight for it. And action-packed. It's an action-packed play. It's a very action-packed play, and I sort of wish that it was produced more. So anyway, I hope that you get to visit with Henry VI Part 3 some more in your Shakespearean studies, and I hope to see you back here tomorrow so that we can start Henry VIII. Henry VIII, I am. Henry VIII, I am. The man who is famous for inventing a church so that he could divorce a wife so he could marry someone else, who he killed and married somebody else, and killed and married somebody else. And did that for a little while. He had a few wives, just a few. Anyway, I will see you tomorrow for more Shakesyear as we start new play day. Mwah!